Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named NiceJuice in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I stole my ex's attention at his GF's party when I was dancing with our daughter. My ex M27 and IF24 broke up over a year ago, but we have a 2.5-year-old baby girl together, so we are still close and have a good relationship. There is not much else to say. He is dating someone new. It was her birthday yesterday, and my ex invited our baby and me since it was in his backyard. He invited his family as well, so I was mostly chatting with them. My daughter was playing with her cousins and some other kids from his girlfriend's side of the family. It was quite okay, really. He was playing music and the kids were dancing and playing. My daughter and one of her cousins came up to where we were sitting and asked us to dance too. I went to dance with them, then my daughter called her father, and we started dancing with her. We did not dance for very long. The kids and other adults were dancing as well, but his girlfriend got upset and called the party off. She then personally attacked me, saying things like, 'Why did you leave him if you are not over your ex?' and calling me an attention-seeking whore. She said she knew I would act like that when her boyfriend told her I was coming, among other things. It caused a family fight too. She and her family left, so it was just us. My ex and his family were quite upset. After his family left, my ex and I talked more calmly, and he said he was disappointed in his girlfriend's reaction. Some people see it as if I was looking for this kind of reaction when I went to the party, but I was not. I was invited and I went. I think it is very important to have a close relationship with my daughter's father. What would be the alternative? Her having to see us fight all the time. But I do not know, maybe I am off. Edit. Well, feel free to ignore this post. It does not matter anymore because they broke up, so I guess I will not even have the chance to apologize. A deleted user said, the father wanted his 2.5-year-old daughter at the party and hopefully the girlfriend did too. But you obviously know that if the father's 2.5-year-old daughter is at the party, then he would have to basically watch her almost full time, which would seriously distract from his new girlfriend and her party where she wants to be the center of attention. The two exes and the daughter are on really good terms and still care about each other and about properly co-parenting. If the new girlfriend cannot stand the fact that he has a child by another woman, and indeed the other woman is in the picture for the next 15 or 16 years, then it sounds like this is a very good way of showing that she is just not mature enough and cannot handle her jealousy. It seems like a really good thing that this happened now and not after they get married and have other children, when she might try to force her new husband not to ever interact with the ex, which would be horrible for their little daughter. She sounds petty and vindictive, and I hope he is doubting the relationship at this point. Another deleted user said, let me get this correct. Your ex invited you and your daughter to his new girlfriend's birthday party instead of just inviting your daughter without actually consulting his girlfriend, and you are all shocked at the fallout. Everyone involved is at fault for actually thinking it was in any way okay to do this. To this comment, OP said, I'm guessing she knew since they planned the party together. Old Veterinarian said he is the asshole. The girlfriend's birthday is not an appropriate event to invite the ex-girlfriend. If it were your daughter's birthday, then it would be fair to play Switzerland and all get along, but the birthday is her party. This second post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Leading Sir. The post is titled, My GF invited her ex over to my apartment, and I'm absolutely livid right now. I live in a big city in my own apartment. My girlfriend Lily lives with her roommates, but if I'm being honest, she basically lives over here 80% of the time. Early yesterday, while I was at the gym with my friend Mike, she texted me saying she had an old friend she hadn't seen in a while who was in town and that it would be nice to have a quiet place to catch up. I said they could use my apartment and that I'd go out for dinner with Mike so they'd have time to catch up. At the time, I was in a rush and didn't ask who she was inviting over, etc. Well, apparently I should have, because the old friend she was catching up with alone in my apartment was her only ex-boyfriend, Kyle. About 30 minutes after this conversation, I got a text from her saying they were at the apartment. I just said bet and continued with my friend. Mike and I finished our workout around 7 p.m. and decided to go to Whole Foods. as their hot and salad bars have some great food. We ate there and finished around 8:30 p.m. I was on my way home, honestly not expecting anything other than just saying hi and heading to bed. It had been a long day and I was ready to sleep. I arrived home around 9 p.m. and at this point I had no idea if her friend was still over or not. I was secretly hoping they weren't, as I didn't feel like socializing at all, but hey, I'd take one for the team. When I walked into the apartment, I saw some big Timberland boots that obviously belonged to a man. I immediately thought, fuck, her friend brought her boyfriend. I'm going to have to stay up and socialize now. I took off my shoes and jacket and started heading down the mini hallway. As I entered the living area, I saw my girlfriend sitting on the couch with a man at separate ends, but staring right at each other, talking. My girlfriend noticed me and jumped a little. At this point, I was still completely oblivious. I said hello and started walking toward the man. I was looking around the house for her friend, honestly thinking she was in the bathroom or something. I shook the guy's hand and said something like, "Hey, I'm Lily's boyfriend." He replied in a cocky way, "I'm Kyle, Lily's ex." I said, "Oh, my fault, I thought you were her friend's boyfriend." Then it got a little quiet and I rapidly realized that my girlfriend had been alone with her ex in my apartment for the last couple of hours. I looked at my girl and said, "So I'm taking it this was your old friend?" She said yes in a soft voice. At this point, I wasn't letting myself jump to conclusions, but I was tired and didn't feel like socializing. I was also upset that my girl was just chilling with her ex in my apartment. It got quiet again, and these two made zero effort to continue whatever conversation they were having just moments ago. Lily asked how my day was, and I said it was fine, again getting the vibe I was interrupting something. At this point, I was fed up and I looked at him and asked Kyle, "Hey, do you mind ending it here for now? I actually have some things I need to talk to Lily about." He said something like, "She invited me over though, and we're still reminiscing on the good old days." I looked at Lily, she couldn't even look me in the eyes. I looked back at Kyle and said, "Alright, let me rephrase it. This is my apartment and I'm telling you to leave." He then looked at her and said, "Do you want me to leave?" At this point, and I'm not proud of it, I completely lost my shit, saying, "What the fuck do you mean by that? I don't give a shit if she wants you to leave or not. I'm telling you to get the fuck out of my house." Lily told me to calm down and turned to tell him he needed to leave. Kyle got up and headed toward the hallway to get his stuff. I followed and he ended up leaving. I came back and Lily was now pissed at me, saying I embarrassed her. "I embarrassed you." She then went on about how my reaction was totally uncalled for because she told me he was coming over and asked. I said, "No, Lily, you said a fucking friend was coming over, a fucking friend. Not once did you mention this friend was a male, much less your fucking ex." She then said my reaction was bullshit and that I acted like an ass. I told her, "You were with your fucking ex in my apartment. Do you not understand how much of a fuck you that comes across as?" I then asked why the fuck you were meeting in the first place. She told me he's going through rough times and needs someone to lean on, and that she just wanted to be there for him because he's a nice person, and that hanging out with him in my apartment shows nothing shady is going on. I explained how that was bullshit and that if my ex started having issues and I was the one comforting her, she would be pissed. She said no, she'd understand because she has empathy. I said that was bullshit, Lily. You got pissed at me at the gym because I smiled when a girl complimented my form while lifting. She then said she was done talking and stormed out. I didn't say anything, didn't chase, and haven't reached out. I just sat on the couch and thought about what the fuck just happened. I then called my father, who gave me some great advice. She texted me 2 hours ago. "Can we talk? I'm sorry for not telling you it was my ex that I invited over. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Nothing happened. Nothing is going to happen. I love you." He messaged me out of the blue. He needed someone to talk to. I didn't think much of it. "I'm sorry for deceiving you. I wanted to talk to him at your place because I didn't want you to assume something else was going on. Please talk to me. I love you." Obviously, if she sees this, she'll know I'm talking about us, but she doesn't use Reddit. I haven't responded yet. I'm leaning toward wanting to break things off with her after talking about all this with my pops. Not for her talking to him, but for how I felt in the moment it was all happening. It's a huge red flag for me that she said old friend instead of ex. I still don't get it. In the moment I got visibly upset with her ex, she didn't take my side once. When I was nice before I even recognized him, it felt like I was the odd man out. I just felt like she doesn't respect me, not in some 1950s way where the woman has to respect the man. But if the roles were reversed and I was with my ex at her house, I would have backed my girl when she was getting mad. I would have called my ex out for talking cocky to my girl, etc. I'm still very pissed, so I don't think I should be talking to her right now. It's currently around 3 a.m. Honestly, I'm just fucking tired. I don't even know if I'm pissed. Edit 1, it's currently 12:44 p.m. It's already been a long fucking day and will continue to be a long fucking day. I've seen your comments. I'll update tonight or tomorrow depending on what the fuck ends up fully playing out. It's been a hell of a day so far. I'm on like 3 hours of sleep. This whole writing was just me typing the words from my thoughts last night. I had no idea so many would view this. Eternal Cherek said, wow, this is not even just red flags. This is 100% red. So many boundaries have been crossed, and what an asshole this guy is to be asking her if he should leave your apartment. This is around the time I would either be kicking her to the curb or installing cameras. Your girlfriend is shady as hell and is disrespecting so many boundaries. If something has not already happened, then it is about to. Rough times and someone to lean on sound like the start of about 60% of infidelity stories I see on Reddit. Atakno said, if it were me, I would break up with her. She intentionally misled you. Nothing might have happened, but withholding information about who she was meeting was a red flag. The ex was also rude, and she basically just let him disrespect you. A deleted user, she was deceptive. She understood that you were unlikely to be comfortable with her ex coming to your place, which is why she said he was an old friend. He should never have been in your home without you present out of respect for you. Not only because it is your place, but because you are her current boyfriend. And she should never do anything that gives another man the perception that she is single and available for a relationship. End this relationship and do not look back. She will have to learn how to do better in her next relationship. You did great attempting to be cordial and socialize after a long day when you just wanted to go straight to bed. I am sorry that you were blindsided in such a way. Whether she intended to or not, she embarrassed you, and she should have been honest and transparent to avoid confusion and save embarrassment for everyone involved. Yet she did not. Do not doubt yourself. It is not as complicated as you think. It is what you see. Update. It's currently around 7 p.m. as I write this, and honestly, the last 13 or so hours I've been up have been absolutely draining, to say the least. I woke up this morning to my phone going absolutely nuts with the notifications from Reddit. I honestly thought, oh fuck, why did I decide to pour my personal thoughts out into a Reddit post? I began to scroll through your comments, and to say I was shocked is an absolute understatement. Literally, almost all of you are actively taking my side, and I was just scrolling this morning looking for that one comment that was taking hers. It never came. What surprised me the most was the number of women in this thread who said they would never do this to their man and that it is beyond disrespectful. Those comments hit the hardest this morning, as those were my thoughts exactly. Last night was a complete stress storm for me, to be honest. I couldn't believe what had just happened. As you can guess from my post, I live alone, so there wasn't anyone at my place that I could talk to. I decided to call the one man who's had my back since day one, my dad. As many have messaged me and many have commented, I'll go into detail on what exactly our phone call entailed. First, I'm going to go back to when it originally happened so that it makes more sense. Also, when reading back my thoughts from last night, it was clear I was rushing at the end and honestly just fed up with everything at that point, so I skipped a lot of details. To start, Lily had just stormed out of my apartment after I called her out, saying she wouldn't be okay with me meeting with my ex because they needed someone to lean on. Like I said before, I didn't call, text, or follow her. At this point, I was furious and couldn't believe what had just happened. I took a seat on the couch and tried breathing exercises. I was trying to calm down, but it was no use because I kept remembering Kyle asking, "Do you want me to leave?" to my girlfriend. I didn't really elaborate on this beforehand, but that moment sent me to another world and I was about to lose my shit completely. I just kept telling myself, it's not worth it, it's not worth it, it's not worth it. All I wanted to do at that point was beat Kyle's ass, and all my methods for calming down were failing. I just said, fuck it, picked up my phone and said, Siri, call old man. I honestly didn't know what I was gonna say, but I knew if there was one person who could get through to me, it would be my dad. I don't remember the exact dialogue, but I'll try my best to be as accurate as possible. Phone dialing dad picks up and says, I seen it already, Vooch dropped 43 on their ass. I started laughing a bit and said, it's not about that, Dad. I just got into a huge fight with Lily. I'm really pissed, Dad. I don't want to do anything stupid. Whoa, okay, where are you right now? Are you with her? Are you guys okay? My dad asked. I'm at the apartment right now and she just stormed out. Yes, I am chilling. I just don't know what to do, I replied. There was a long pause and I heard my dad take a deep breath and say, all right, hit me. I began to give him the same rundown I gave you all in my last post. The whole time, my dad was dead silent, didn't say a word. I finished up the story. All he asked was, what does Kyle look like? I won't lie, this caught me off guard because I was like, damn, Dad, why does it matter what he looks like? I responded, I don't know, he was white with long curly hair, etc. Why? My dad asked. No, how tall was he? At this point, I was like, what the fuck, Dad? I don't know, maybe 5'9" max. My dad laughed a bit and said, explains the Timberlands then, fucking male equivalent of heels. I didn't realize it yesterday, but what my dad was doing was what he always does. I literally can't stay pissed if I laugh, and my dad can make me laugh on demand. I started laughing. I was like, you're right. He then was like, how much do you think he weighed? I had to think for a minute, but said, maybe $155-ish. My dad then brought up the argument between Kyle and me. You said Lily told Kyle to leave after you started to get mad, right? Yeah, I responded. My dad paused for a long time again and took another deep breath. OP, I wouldn't be surprised if the situation is a lot deeper than it seems. It speaks volumes to me that she only told him to leave after you began to get really upset. OP, you are 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, and were just disrespected in your own house by a man you do not know. When a woman cares for someone, the last thing she wants is for him to be in harm's way. She understood exactly what was going to happen if the situation continued to escalate, and she chose to get Kyle out of harm's way, followed by switching all the blame to you and leaving. Honestly, son, where do you think she is right now? I didn't say anything. I knew what he was implying. I know it hurts, but promise me you won't do anything irrational. She made her decision. There's not much you can do to change it. You've proven your whole life, you're one of one, don't lose yourself now over something that will just end up a tiny bump on your roadmap. I mean, seriously. I couldn't be more proud of you, son. You're 22, living on your own in the city, you've got your shit together. That's rare, OP, you're rare. The right woman, like your mom for me, will walk into your life when you least expect it. Don't waste your energy. Everything happens for a reason, son. I paused for a minute and said, thank you, I needed this, Dad. My dad laughed. Of course, your mom and I are here for you always. Ends call fast forward to this morning. I couldn't sleep at all last night, so this morning was just completely awful. Lily was blowing up my phone the whole night, apologizing and begging for my forgiveness. It was around 11 a.m. at this point, and I was completely over the situation. I still hadn't responded to her since she stormed off last night. In my opinion, she made her choice. However, I have a long week ahead of me and can't let this continue to impact me so much going forward. I ate something and headed down to my apartment's local gym to run. Running is therapeutic for me. Around 1 o'clock, I got a phone call and you guessed it, it was from Lily. No part of me wanted to pick up the phone, but we've been dating for 2.5 years. I felt obligated. Picks up phone, what's up? I said, immediately met with crying. I'm sorry, OP, I love you to death. Please just talk to me. I shouldn't have left last night. I panicked. You know I love you, OP. I didn't say anything. OP, please talk to me. This isn't right. Please just talk to your girlfriend. I'm sorry. I told you nothing happened. I won't ever talk to him again. Please, I beg you. Can we just talk? At this point, the realization of my feelings for her started to really kick in. Instead of anger, sorrow, or any emotion, to be honest, I just felt a sense of indifference when she spoke. I responded, "Can you come over around 3?" Still crying, she said, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." "Okay," I said. Ends call. I was just sitting on the sofa at this time, waiting for 3 to roll around, scrolling through the comments on my previous post. Knock, knock, I heard from the hallway. Shortly after, I saw my girlfriend emerge from the mini hallway. She began smiling and crying while wiping her tears. Again, I took notice of how I felt at this moment, a sense of indifference. I just did not care anymore. It really started to hit me, 2.5 years wasted just like that. The woman I cared so deeply for just 24 hours earlier was now in front of me crying, and I didn't feel a thing. "Lily, it's over between us," I said, completely shocked as she barely managed to mutter out, "What?" while still crying. "It's over," I repeated. OP, no, 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 no. "Please, I'm sorry. Don't end this between us. I love you to death," she said hysterically. I won't lie, that last bit hit hard. I mean, really hard. I couldn't mask it anymore. The lid had been broken. "Don't end this between us," I said. "Lily, I'm sorry. I can't take this anymore. I don't know what impression I gave you over our relationship, but I won't stay in a relationship with a woman who thinks that little of me. You made the decision to end things between us when you invited your ex into my apartment behind my back, Lily. That is something I refuse to let slide." At this point, my thoughts just began to flow out of my mouth like a tidal wave. "No man is that cocky for no reason, Lily. I'm not a fool. You gave him some type of reassurance to give him the confidence to act like that. You even backed him in front of me. Why would I stay with someone who's not going to have my back?" Absolutely bawling at this point, Lily said, "I'm sorry, OP. I love you. I'm sorry. You can call me whatever you want," but at this point, I just went soft. I didn't have the heart to keep drilling her anymore. She was just breaking down, crying uncontrollably. I just sat down in silence. "OP, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. OP, I love you, only you. I won't ever talk to him again, I promise. OP, please, just give me one more chance," said Lily. I was completely silent. There was just a huge pressure on my chest. It felt like my ribcage was going to crack under the weight. Sitting there silently, listening to her crying, I remembered one of my favorite songs. "I'd rather have loyalty than love, 'cause love really don't mean jack. See, love is just a feeling. You can love somebody and still stab them in they back. It don't take much to love. You can love somebody just by being attached. See, loyalty is an action. You can love or hate me and still have my back." I just kept repeating those lyrics in my head over and over again. To many, it might seem she said all the right things, but to me, actions speak louder than words. Last night, she made her decision about us through her actions, and since actions speak louder than words, it really didn't matter what she said. I was struggling to keep it together at this point. I really did love her, hell, I still do, but I understood this was what's best for me. I wouldn't have been able to trust her again. You can't be in a relationship without trust or loyalty. I lost both from her. As she cried, I looked up and said, "Lily, please, it's over. There's no saving this." She looked at me and said, "OP, no, please just stop. It's over, Lily," I interrupted. "Please, just do us both a favor and take your things and leave, Lily. It's over, please. Let's just end it here." She didn't say anything and got up and started grabbing some of her things around the apartment. I grabbed a garbage bag and helped her pack. She left the keys to my apartment on the table and left. This all finished up around 4:30 today. I have just been sitting here trying to process what the hell just happened. Honestly, it still doesn't feel real. I never intended on posting on Reddit yesterday, but I just needed a place to vent, and since it blew up, I felt like I should update you all today. It's 7:35 as I finish writing this. I'm hurt. The weight of what just went down over the last 24 hours doesn't feel real. To anyone who actually read this long update, thank you. To those who commented on my previous post, thank you. I really needed a place to vent last night. This third post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Omega2. The post is titled, "My stepdad turned my family against me." So let me start this off by saying I apologize for how long this may be. My dad passed away when I was 15. He and my mom were not all that close by that time, so while it hit me hard, she was not as fazed as you might expect. I joined the military when I was 17, and in my first year out of the house, my mom remarried. I never really connected with her new husband. We just had different personalities. He would often make snide remarks and tell me to man up about any inconvenience I was upset about. This led to spats between us, and I was often just as much at fault as he was for these disagreements, though it never got too serious. I was medically discharged after a little under 5 years, and my mom and her husband said they would be happy to have me back in the house. I told them it would be brief just until I got on my feet and found a job, and I even offered to pay rent, which they declined. About 3 days into being back home, my stepdad, when alone with me, asked what I thought a fair rent would be. I was confused, but it was his house, so we came to an agreement. I kept it from my mom, assuming he did not want her to know, as he never mentioned it around her. I never asked for anything from them, not out of spite. I just wanted to do things myself. He had a son from a previous marriage. He and I did not share many common interests, but I never had any issues with him. I would say we got along. The only thing is, he was given a lot from them. They paid for his schooling, his car, and his living arrangements through college and even after. I was a little less than a year older than him, so he started college right after they married. Like I said, I did not want or need the help, but it felt unfair that he received all that assistance and I was immediately asked for rent. But I digress. I moved out after 3 months, and not long after, I met a girl who I was crazy about and we started dating. It was my first relationship and I was over the moon the entire time. I was in that early relationship haze, but it was just constant. I was very nervous to bring her home. My mom and I were very close, and I always worried she would be very judgmental of any girl I brought home. My worries ended up being unwarranted. They got along extremely well. My girlfriend does not really have a family, so my mom and stepdad became like family for her. She and my mom hit it off so well that they were hanging out, just the two of them at times, and it made me extremely happy. My stepdad even really liked her, and I felt it brought us closer together, which was not something I thought I wanted until it happened. His dad abandoned his family growing up, and he put himself through school and got a high-paying job all by himself, which I had immense respect for. About a year in, I knew this was the girl I was going to marry. I told my mom and stepdad, and they both seemed extremely happy. She was practically part of the family already. My mom gave me her engagement ring that my dad had given her, which she had kept. The job I had did not pay well, so I figured even if it was not the ring she would always have, it would be a great placeholder. When I proposed, my girlfriend told me it was not a placeholder and she absolutely loved it. I was truly never happier in my life. We started wedding planning and my mom and stepdad said they would help take care of the finances. It was the first time they had offered to help me financially, and it really meant a lot. Fast forward about 3 months later, I got a call from my stepdad who said I needed to come over. It felt a bit ominous, but I went over after work. When I got there, my mom, stepdad, stepbrother, and fiancé were all there. I saw her on the couch and could tell she had been crying. I immediately thought someone had died and went to sit next to her, but my stepdad stopped me. He started hitting me with accusations of cheating on her for our entire relationship. I was puzzled and told everyone there that I did not even text any women I was not related to besides her. Apparently, some girl had gotten my fiance's number and told her that we were sleeping together for over a year, but she did not know I was in a committed relationship. She sent her screenshots of alleged conversations and knew things about me that a random person would not know. I, like a fool, could not see what was happening in front of me. I was stunned, saddened, and furious. I begged her from across the room to look at my phone and see that I had never done any of that. She and my mother were both weeping and I started to cry. My stepdad called me every word he could think of and escorted me out of the house, telling me that if he saw me on his property again, he would call the police. I spent the next several weeks trying to contact them, to no avail. Calls, texts, voicemails, every messaging app out there, nothing. After those weeks, I got a call from my stepdad who told me to stop trying to contact her and that I was never welcome in his house or around his family again. I tried to call my mother during this time, to no avail as well. After about a month, all I got from anyone was a text from my mother saying how sad and disappointed she was. My mom did not really have much family, so they always spent holidays with my stepdad's side. They all shunned me as well. I saw their Christmas pictures on Facebook with my ex-fiance present and seemingly in good spirits, which crushed me. The only family I had that would talk to me at all was my dad's brother and his family. Despite that, even they all seemed wary of me too. The only one who I think truly believed me was my uncle. I do not think I would have made it without him, honestly. He showed me what I had been missing in fatherly love, and I have never been so grateful for anyone. About 6 months after it all, I moved away from the East Coast and settled out in California, needing to get away from it all. A little less than a year after I moved, I got a call from an area code from back home, which I rarely got anymore. I picked up and it was my stepbrother, whom I promptly hung up on. He called me back and I ignored it, but it stuck with me all day. I decided that if he called back again, I would pick up, which he did later that night. It was awkward at best. He told me my fiancée was really torn up for a long time. It took her nearly a year to even start looking again for a significant other. A few months into her doing so, my stepdad encouraged him to ask her on a date, which he did. Things went okay for the first couple of outings, but never really clicked apparently. He told my stepdad about that, and the idiot told him, "I did not get rid of OP for nothing, she's a great girl, you need to figure it out with her." I almost collapsed and it was quickly replaced with anger. Apparently, he had gotten a girl to pose as someone I had an affair with and forged some message screenshots to have her sent to my fiance. He told me he had told him about it a month ago and he did not know what to do. Apparently, it bothered him enough that he could not just sit on the information anymore, so he told me and said he was going to tell my mom and fiancé the next day. He called me first as a courtesy, so he would know what to say to them regarding me. I told him where I was and that I would appreciate it if they did not immediately contact me, so I had some time to digest it all. That was last Tuesday. I just texted him and told him I was ready to talk to them if they wanted to and that they could call me tomorrow. I really do not know what I am going to say or what they will say for that matter. I expect some tears and a good number of apologies among other things. I do not really know if I am ready to give forgiveness or anything like that. The only person I have told so far is my uncle, who I have asked to keep it to himself. Sorry again for how long this was. My therapist picked a terrible week to go on vacation and I needed to vent. Update. Sorry for the delay. It was a busy day at work and obviously I have a lot of other things on my mind. My stepbrother called me this morning and told me exactly what happened this past week. Apparently, what my stepfather said wasn't exactly what he told me. He elaborated more and said he was very careful with his words so as not to incriminate himself. According to my stepbrother, he heavily and very clearly implied what he did without directly stating it. The thing about my stepbrother is he's much smarter than I am. Instead of just going to my mother and fiance with that information and getting into a shouting match with his dad, he took a different approach that I wouldn't have thought of. He got a hold of my ex's phone and found the girl. He said it took him forever to backtrack it. He called her and got her to meet him out in public. That's where it all came to a head. She was a Tinder match with my stepfather, which I think pretty clearly indicates that he had been sleeping around on my mom. That irritated me even more for obvious reasons. This girl alleges they did not sleep together. However, whether that is the truth or not did not matter to me. What does matter is that my stepbrother talked to her and pulled on her heartstrings with the story and everything that had happened. She told him what happened. $1,000 for a phone call. That was the deal. He told her what to say and supplied the pictures of evidence. She made the call and that was that. My stepbrother asked her if she could tell my mother and ex. She agreed to do it for free and that happened yesterday. My stepfather is on a business trip until Wednesday, so it was the four of them there. She came in and spilled everything to my mom and ex. My stepbrother said the tears started almost immediately from all three of them. After everything, he told them I was in California and that he'd let them know when I wanted to be contacted. A little backstory for you all to try to understand some things about my mother and ex-fiancé, and this is in no way defending their actions, just to help some folks understand. My mother and I were inseparable after my dad passed. We were each other's rock. When I turned 16, I began to drink to dull the pain a bit. I told my mom we'd spend New Year's together the year I was 16, but I ended up out with my friends, drunk as hell. I got a text from my mom who spent the night alone at home, and that was when we were never quite the same. She sent me a text about how sad she was to be all alone, and I felt like complete shit over it. I stopped drinking that day until after everything went to hell. She is the type of person who always needs someone. She can't handle being alone. I think when her and my dad's love began to fade, I filled that void, and when I grew up and left home, my stepfather filled that void. Then my ex. As I said earlier, she doesn't really have a family. She had some real trust issues because of this, along with some really nasty past relationships. Despite this, she never talked badly about past boyfriends, which I really admired. I, despite being debilitatingly shy, have often been told that I'm cute, especially by younger girls. I never really liked that title as it's not very masculine, but I got over it and learned to appreciate my boyish face and how often I would blush. My fiancé is just shy of 3 years older than me. I've always preferred older women and never given much time or thought to the girls who seemed interested in me just because they were 18 to 20. This didn't stop the attention, which upset my fiancé. She'd often ask why I wasn't interested in those girls or why I didn't leave her for someone younger and prettier, etc. I always found her extremely attractive, significantly more attractive than me, honestly, and would always reiterate that to her and that I never cared about any other girl. Sorry to get off track. I hope that brings a little insight into why I think they did what they did and believed what they believed. Again, this is not an excuse for them, nor am I really all that understanding personally. At the end of the call with my brother, he said they both wanted to call today, and I told him that was fine. So I sat and waited. By about 3 p.m., I was a little confused and started to wonder if he'd made it all up just to mess with me. It really worried me, honestly. I got a text from him asking if I was all good. I said yeah and asked if they were actually planning on calling today. He said they'd been trying for the last few hours. I had blocked them both when I moved out west and had forgotten. Why I didn't block him, I don't know, but I'm thankful I didn't. I unblocked them both and got a call from my mom about 10 minutes later. The first thing she said was that I sounded different. I almost hung up right then. It took all I had just to say, yeah. She broke down immediately after that. I really thought I'd feel more. I'd be lying if I said I felt nothing, but the pain of it all just took hold of me more than her words. She asked if I'd gotten her texts. I said no. I guess she'd been trying to text over the last year, but I had her number blocked. If she really wanted to reach me, she could have. Maybe that's a little harsh, but I know it's true. I pretty much told her that I'd be willing to build some semblance of a relationship back with time, and she was happy with that. She also told me she was getting all her necessities out of the house before my stepfather got home and that she'd be filing for divorce immediately. I believe her too. She may be a poor excuse for a mother in my eyes, but she's never been someone to take half measures. I really wish I could be there to see that prick's face when he comes back to an empty home. My ex got the phone next and did the same tearful apologies my mom did. I felt a little more with her. I actually tried to get her to think and remember how many times I told her I'd never do that to her and how much I loved her. She was beside herself, and to be honest, I'm glad. We talked for about half an hour, and I really thought it was pleasant. Even though I told myself for over a year now that it would never happen again, I thought there could still be something for us. She told me she still had the ring, and it made me upset. I told her to give it to my mom because it didn't belong to either of us anymore. I could tell that really crushed her, and selfishly, I wanted it to. She asked if she could call or text me. I told her it was fine, but not to expect a prompt response either way, which she understood. I pretty much gave her the same ultimatum as my mom, though I said any chances of us having a future relationship were very slim. She said she understood that too. I talked to my brother last and thanked him for everything he'd done. He was helping my mom get her stuff out of his father's house. He apologized for all that had happened and told me he was going to go tell the rest of the family everything as well. I have no connection to them and don't imagine I'll say a word to them, except my stepdad's mother, the oldest person in any of the families, who wished me a happy birthday and Merry Christmas over the last year. Maybe she was old enough that she didn't care, maybe she felt bad, but I'll talk to her, odd as it is. Sorry for all the rambling. I fly home for my uncle's 60th birthday the first week of March. It'll be my first time home since I moved out here. I'll definitely plan on seeing my brother as well. I'm not averse to seeing my mom and ex, but I've made it clear to them that I've got a lot of healing to do, and so do they. If anything further happens, I'll update again, maybe after that trip home, but that looks like it for the time being. Also, this is kind of the last social media I have. I haven't been on here very often in the last year for reasons I'm sure you can guess. I truly haven't seen any similar stories to mine that have been referenced in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer any questions anyone has regarding this whole thing to the best of my knowledge. Thank you, everyone. Brief update. I got a call from a number back home. I deleted most of my contacts a while ago from anyone I was not talking with. I picked up and it was my stepfather. He said hello and I hung up and blocked the number. I immediately called my mom, fiance, and brother. They are all safe and not around him. My mom is in a hotel that he does not know about, and my fiance and brother are at their residences. Both say they feel adequately protected. My brother said he got a call from him this morning when he got home after my mom was not there and would not answer. My brother told him what happened and told him not to contact any of them. I am not sure how long he sat there, but he called me around 3 p.m. Pacific time. About an hour ago, I got a message from a different number saying, "We need to talk." I assume that is him. I have not responded. That is the latest. My stepfather's mother called me. I had her number saved because of what I previously stated. I was a bit worried it might have been him trying to gather some information or something. It was not. She is a very sweet lady who did not have to be nice to me in any way, but has shown me compassion. She was very kind and wished me well while also apologizing on behalf of the family. I thanked her and wished her the best too. It is shocking that he came from that woman. Update 2. Alright, sorry for the delay everyone. Work has been busy and I just got home this past weekend. I sat on that message from what it turns out was in fact my stepfather. My curiosity got the better of me and I called him. I wish I could say the call provided me with something, but that would be disingenuous. Hearing his voice made my skin crawl. He asked how I was. I told him to cut the shit and he laughed. Nothing incriminating on his end, of course. The talk was about 3 minutes long, about nothing. I did ask him why he wasn't content with me being with her. He said I wasn't man enough and that a woman like her would have been wasted on me. He has a very traditional way of thinking relationship-wise, which is especially funny because it shows how much he never knew about our relationship or her in general. Without going off on a tangent, my ex was and is pretty notably against gender norms. There wasn't really much to take away from the conversation other than that. I don't really know what he wanted, but I told him not to call me again and hung up. Not very eventful on that front. I flew back home prior to the weekend last week and went to my uncle's birthday party. I had a good time and the family was very welcoming and apologetic for not being more supportive after everything. I talked with my brother and set up a meeting at his place with my ex and mother on Wednesday night. On Wednesday, I went over there and got what I expected. A lot of tears, a lot of apologies. I admittedly had a tough time keeping it together. I talked with both of them and my brother all independently. Mom has already filed for divorce, which is good and I appreciate her doing so. We had a decent conversation. You can tell it's strained, but I think we're making some progress toward healing. My brother and I had a good talk. It was nice to talk with him in person. He apologized for everything that had happened and I accepted it. You can definitely tell he feels remorse for how it all shook out and for the work he put in to make it right. I definitely don't hold a grudge. My ex and I had a very long discussion through most of the night. We'd been talking over the phone for the last couple of weeks already. A lot of it was just catching up. We're obviously two very different people now after nearly a year and a half apart. We had some more serious discussions later on about everything about how screwed up it all was and how broken I was by it all. She told me she'd already seen a therapist and asked if I would be willing to come with her to her appointment on Thursday. She's gone above and beyond for everything I could have asked of her the last few weeks, and I am really truly appreciative of it. I went with her to her therapy appointment, which I feel was very productive for everyone. Her therapist seemed to be very appreciative of me being there as well. So we stayed talking for a while afterward, and I decided to ask if she wanted to go out Saturday night, so that's the plan right now. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I wanted to show her that I appreciate the effort she's putting in to try and mend what's been broken. And selfishly, I'd like to see her in a setting that isn't like the ones we've been in. So that's the update for now. Things are looking up. I haven't seen any of my stepdad or his family since getting home. I appreciate all of the support from everyone. I will update with anything new. Update 3. The date went very well. We had a nice night together. We got dinner and went to an arcade afterward, which we used to do somewhat frequently. It was the first date I have been on in nearly a year and a half, and I enjoyed myself a lot. We went back to her place afterward and talked. We are going to discuss the next steps during this week before I head back to California. The distance part is going to be the hardest, but I think it will help keep the rose-colored glasses off if we are not with each other constantly. Thank you again for the support from everyone. Update 4. A lot of folks were asking for another update. I have remained in contact with my brother, mom, and ex. My brother and I still talk a reasonable amount. My mom and I have been rebuilding our relationship. Definitely some improvements there. I am truly glad she's back in my life, even if it's going to take some time for her to really be like a mother to me again. My ex and I spent a long time trying to figure out the best way to go about things. She flew out and spent time with me in California, which was very nice. At the moment, we're not together, and I think that's best for right now. As for my ex-stepfather, I really have no clue. He tried to contact my mother a few times following everything, but he never got a chance to talk. He hasn't been in contact with me at all, and for that I'm thankful. I hope I never run into him again. Life changes. I did end up moving back east for a new job. I'm a few states away from my family still, which I think is healthy. I am happy to answer any other questions you might have. Thank you for all the support in this madness. Big Albatross said, personally, I do not want OP to get back together with his ex. She never gave him a chance to defend himself, and the same goes for his mother. To this user, Thieving Willow said, yeah, I cannot imagine staying in a relationship where the other person would not even spend 5 minutes listening to me regarding a conflict. I would be walking on eggshells forever, and no, I would not feel more comfortable if it was coming from a place of huge insecurity, because that is all the more reason to think it might happen again. Raymond Boehm said, if people are willing to cut you off completely without giving you the time of day, then they will be willing to do it again. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.